Iraq continues to flaunt its hostility toward America and to support terror. The terrorist threat to America and the world will be diminished the moment that Saddam Hussein is disarmed.
And we believe he has, in fact, reconstituted nuclear weapons.
There's no doubt in my mind that he has weapons, chemical and biological weapons, and has been working on nuclear weapons.
When I first got into Iraq, we saw, you know, all the blown up tanks. You know, they were bombed from the sky. You know, bullet holes everywhere. You know, it was like going into a Mad Max movie, like Mad Max Return to Thunderdome. Like, wow, I'm at war. Like, wow. And we're just like, part of you were like, this is cool. And then the other part of you was like, damn, well, we got to do this, but somebody got to pay.
Units in Iraq are picking up people on hunches and suspicions. For instance, you'll get an intelligence report that someone driving a black Opel, which is a model of car over there, was involved in an IED attack. So they'll just round up people with black Opels and bring them in for interrogation. Any kind of hunch that these units had, they would act on it and arrest people. They just arrested everyone.
I heard that over 30,000 people were executed over there during Saddam's regime. That they were buried right there, most of them were. And just very horrible stories about prisoner tortures. Of course, there were pictures of Saddam all over the prison. The place was horrible. There were wild dogs running around, digging up human bodies.
It was a place inside the prison, like the death chamber that we called it, where it was 2 holes in the floor and the hanging hooks. You know, they said they hung people every day. They'd hang like 80, 100 people a day or something like that. Where we lived at in our barracks, it was 2 ovens in there that we, what do you call it, an incinerator for bodies. It was kind of like, okay, whoa, where are we living at? You know how many lost souls or displaced souls are walking around here?
It was very, very hot. The heat index, direct sunlight, was 130, and the odor was, I'll never forget the smell of Abu Ghraib. The smell of sweat and trash and feces and urine wafting through the air. It's just, I will never forget the smell of Abu Ghraib.
Just a desert bowl of misery is the only way to describe it.
And the place was just so dark, you know, and you knew the history, and you like, you felt like it was a haunted place. You know, like at nighttime, there's certain hallways you wouldn't want to go down by yourself.
We requested resources and assistance many times, almost on a daily basis. At some points practically pleading for resources, not only for Abu Ghraib, but for all of the other prison facilities we were trying to restore and reopen. Somebody had this crazy idea that they could restore all of the prison systems and get the new Iraqi guards retrained in the right way to do an appropriate prison operation in 90 days or less. There was no plan for anything.
We get there and we're told, okay, put your weapons away, put your trucks away and park them. You're not going to need them any longer. We're like, what are you talking about? Where these people that were there, you know, said, okay, no, you're going to be prison guards. You're going to augment the guard force inside. So our commander was like, hey, what are we doing? We're not corrections. I was like, our guys never been trained to do anything like that. So hence, we put our weapons away, our tons of ammunition away, and then we became prison guards with no training whatsoever.
And we all look at each other, what? We, the 72nd MP company is leaving, and we're going to take their place. If there was ever a turn in morale, it was right there that I could see. Everything just hit rock bottom.
Abu Ghraib turned out to be the most attacked U.S. position in Iraq, meaning that they got shelled every day, shot at every day, every single day, all day, every day.
And there was holes in one of the walls from shrapnel that a mortar had just hit. I think it was maybe a week before we came, or a couple days before we came. And he was telling us how the guy was praying and a mortar hit and killed a bunch of prisoners. So, I mean, he definitely didn't feel safe being there.
The road outside the prison is the most dangerous road on the planet Earth. You have more fatalities on that road, more IEDs on that road, more shots fired on that road than any road in the world. You could be walking to your barracks. Boom. Oh man, incoming, incoming. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Yep.
In July and August, the prison population was fairly stable, and I would say at the highest numbers it was still less than 1,000. By the end of September, it went to over 6,000. We had just short of 300 military police personnel at Abu Ghraib to guard thousands of prisoners.
You had the general population prisoners, which were basically a huge mass of humanity, thrown into a mud pit, surrounded by concertina wire. And then you had the hard sites, which is where the intel holds were at, as well as the insane or the criminal. And then there was an even more, the most secure section was where they had the women and the children.
The females that we had were, the spouses or sisters or cousin of high-value detainees that were being used as, okay, well, we have your sister, we have your wife, you need to turn yourself in. Same thing with the little children. And we had like 9-year-olds in there. I'm like, why do I have a 9-year-old in a prison? It's crazy. But yeah, that's what was there.
I was chosen to work at the hard site because I'm a female, and they needed females working 1B. And that's mainly where they stuck me when Megan Ambule wasn't working.
In the hard site, there was probably 6 or 7 guards guarding, I would say, at least 1,000 detainees, if not more. And you had all those, if all those prisoners got to coordinating that at one time, the guards that were inside of the compound would have been, they would have been dead. These detainees were the worst of the worst, and this information that we needed to get was going to save lives. It was going to have, somebody said at one point, it was going to have global implications.
I think the military intelligence personnel were caught pretty much by surprise at this number of prisoners being brought in that had to undergo an interview at least, or interrogations. Their assessment within the first couple of weeks was, ma'am, most of them are just guilty of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. They don't have any information. Well, according to them at that time, it was about 75 to 80% of the people being brought in really didn't have any information of value or any information at all about terrorism.